Welcome back to the channel and thank you for watching. I'm a barrister who helps you understand law. You might remember from a recent video of mine I talked about Barnaby Joyce, who served twice as Australia's Deputy Prime Minister and latterly until just recently in May of 2022. Well, in the first video he called for prosecution of Amber Heard for perjury in respect of the two dogs, following the revelation by Kevin Murphy in the UK trial in his witness statement, ultimately saying that Amber was lying when she said that Kevin told her that it was okay to take the dogs into the country. Well, Joyce has doubled down on his comments mentioned in my previous video, now calling potentially for Johnny Depp to be complicit in the action if it's found that perjury has occurred. Now, complicity to a crime is when two people agree to have some kind of role within a crime or some involvement in a crime, and they go ahead with it, even though only one of them might actually carry it out. Now, in comments in an interview to Law and Crime, the full video of which I will link in the description below, and a short clip of it I'll play in a moment, Joyce says that if they had a conversation about it, they being Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, if they had a conversation about bringing these dogs into the country illegally, then potentially Johnny Depp could be complicit in the crime.
Well, the question I'd be asking there, Anjanette, is did Amber and Johnny have a little yarn about it? Did they have a yarn on the plane, on their corporate jet? Oh, look at this. Bit of a joke. Look what I'm going to do here, Johnny. I'm going to sign it. Ha, ha, ha. Because that'd make you complicit, wouldn't it?
He goes on to say that it's ultimately up to the United States whether they allow the extradition of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, if indeed they do go to file charges against one or both of them.
If it was the occasion that someone had perjured themselves, firstly, a fulsome investigation of whether anybody knew about it, was complicit in it, gave advice on it, I think that should be investigated. Then it's up to the United States of America. How do we see the process of law?
And again, doubling down on the very important reasons that he puts behind all of this, because importing animals of any kind into a country without the necessary quarantine and checks and everything else can have a devastating effect on the economy of the country, because bringing any animal in that may or may not have some kind of disease which affects other animals, which goes on to affect other crops and industry and so on, can have a massive, widespread, devastating effect on the economy of a country. But more importantly and more fundamentally than that is the rule of law. Joyce also refers that anybody should be held accountable for any crime, no matter they are celebrity status or otherwise. And indeed, the international rule of law would seem to agree with this, because the rule of law is an international understanding that if a country sets a law, and indeed criminal law, then this should be upheld. And many countries have agreements between each other to uphold certain laws. And that's why there are several laws in each jurisdiction to do with extradition. For example, in the United States, the extradition clause in the US Constitution requires states upon demand of another state to deliver a fugitive from justice who's committed treason, felony, or other crime. There is also an extradition treaty between the US and the United Kingdom. And indeed, Australia has the Extradition Act of 1988. So in essence, and the short version is that Australia could make a request to the United States to send Amber Heard and or Johnny Depp, if charges were filed against one or both of them, to Australia for prosecution for perjury. Of course, whether or not charges are filed or not, and whether the extradition is requested or not, will remain to be seen. But one thing for sure is that Australia is taking this very seriously, because if Australia comes to the view that charges should be brought and a crime has occurred, then it could be somewhat embarrassing if Amber Heard and or Johnny Depp just get away with it because they have celebrity status. And indeed, the headlines are not short of stories of people getting into serious trouble because they don't comply with laws when visiting international countries, with people going to prison for years on end in the foreign country simply for taking artifacts or souvenirs and things like that. So as I said previously, we will wait to see whether Joyce's views are shared by other ministers and what Australia does next. So please do like this video and subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, thank you for watching.